Lean in a bit closer if you want. There you go. That's what I like it.
I went home in March of 2016 and resumed life in Georgia. In September 2016, you came here to the US.
Yes, it was late August, early September. I spent some time with the boys, my friends who have been around since high school days.
He's kind of a people collector, and when he makes friends, he doesn't like to let go of them.
No, I'm pretty good at keeping friends. One or two fumbles, but otherwise pretty good at staying in touch with people I like. And also it was so I could be your date to your brother's wedding.
Yeah.
And I got to meet Wayne properly and his new lady wife Sarah. Hi both of you. So that was fun. Got to meet lots of members of your family that I would soon be getting to know better. So we went to the wedding. It was fun. I got to meet various people, and her dad is a bit old-fashioned, so he wanted me to ask him for permission for Heather's hand in marriage. So
my dad said, Heather, a man is not worth anything if he can't be bothered to ask. So yeah. I told him that even though I'm in my 30s, that he was still going to have to ask my dad, because my dad would get really bent out of shape if he didn't.
So yeah, we went to the wedding together, we had some fun, and then at the reception and after party, I pulled her dad aside with a drink of rum in each hand, handed him one, and had a chat with him about how I felt about Heather, about how I want to spend the rest of my life making her happy and all that, and asked for permission to ask her hand in marriage, to which he duly said yes. We shook on it, and we finished off the party, went back to our hotel, and waited while Heather freshened herself up, and then as soon as she emerged...
I'm always in the bathroom.
They do seem to focus heavily in this courtship.
Yes, I'm a girly girl. I like being in the bathroom. I like taking baths. I like doing makeup. I like all that stuff. So when she came out, she had put this ring on the side table while she was freshening up. So I grabbed it up, and as soon as she opened the door and came back out, I got down on one knee and said, Heather Marie Hershey, would you do me the inestimable honor of marrying me and making me the happiest man in the universe? I mean, I saw it coming, obviously, because I had the ring, and I knew you were talking to my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you would even ask me, do you want it a private proposal or a public proposal? So obviously I knew it was coming, and by the way, I said private, because, you know, my brother had just gotten married, and I didn't want to steal any of that thunder, you know?
Yeah.
And it seemed very spontaneous, honestly, like you could not wait to do it.
I could not. I've been waiting for 5 years at that point to ask you. I didn't want to wait a second longer.
I love you.
And I adore you.
So yeah, it's not a fancy proposal story.
No, I didn't get someone to write words in the sky with a biplane. Well, I wanted to do it a lot earlier than that, but you said your dad wanted to wanted me to ask him first. So I waited.
That's classy.
I waited.
Yeah, that's classy. But yeah, so everyone asked, how did he propose? He just asked.
Because I couldn't wait a second longer.
Yeah. Oh, I'm alright with that. Because I mean, the lead up and everything else that's gone along with it, I mean, the whole situation has enough romantic appeal in it that I actually thought it was very sweet that you just couldn't wait, that you were very eager to do it.
Yep. And because the light...
We'll always have the bathroom at the Cambria Suite.
That's
our bathroom.
And the thing was, I had the lighting down low, so I barked my shin on a brocade armchair took some skin off and it was a bit sore, so there I was kneeling on a sore shin.
Whenever you think of sore shins, think of me.
Of course.
That sounds so filthy. We don't mean it like that. Right, okay, moving on.
Moving on. Good night, everybody.
In 2016, I went to visit the UK, and here are the things I wrote down about that. I reviewed more stuff. So I reviewed John Renault's human hair chocolate collection. I made my human hair guide video. I also reviewed almost all of the Todia Beverly collection and most of their colors during that trip. And, I also want to do a little side note about grocery shopping in the United Kingdom because it's a competitive sport. It's so different from grocery shopping in the States, because in the States we have these huge sprawling grocery stores, and part of that is because, you know, frankly, our food has a lot of preservatives in it, or it has had most of the nutrient content removed from it, so it has a very long shelf life. And it's not that way in Europe. In Europe, you know, they don't put that many preservatives in the food. They don't remove all the nutrient content. It does spoil, it does expire, and you know, they mainly trade with other European countries, so while you'll see a lot of variety of different European foods, you're not going to see a lot of stuff from America, though you will see some. Here, we see tons of British food, tons of food from all over the world, really, and that's on the shelves with all of our food. And so, I mean, we get these sprawling, gigantic grocery stores where we can shop, and it's like our roads where there's plenty of space in the aisle for 2 carts to go, and you know, but in the UK, it's like you have to go at a certain time of day, and you have to go like certain days of the week, and if you don't, then you're competing with everyone else under the sun for this limited supply of products. And I swear to you, like, I've never seen more aggressive elderly people in my life than at the grocery store.
No.
Because they're incredibly rude. Like, I know how, like, people think British people are super polite. No. Because if you're younger than them, they're gonna be totally rude to you, and they're gonna jam their cart in front of you so that way you can't get to the thing. I mean, seriously, it is a competitive sport. They will throw that cart in front of you so they can get to the thing before you could get to it, and then they'll just stand there. They'll just stand there and they'll have a little chit-chat session with all their friends while they know you're standing there. None of them will, you know, if you say pardon me or can I please get something or excuse me, may I, blah blah blah, like no. How dare you speak to them because you're young.
Well, sometimes they'll zip right in front of you and then they'll turn around and glare at you.
Yeah! That's partially hilarious. It really is partially hilarious and partially infuriating. And like, I want to be nice to them, and I would let them get the thing first. I really would, because I mean, I'm not like a nasty human being. You know, they're smaller than me. They can have it, whatever. But the fact that they're so mean about it just shocked me when I first encountered it. It just really shocked me. And the fact that they'll just stand there and then they'll gather with all their friends and they all know each other, because no matter where you are in England, it's like a small town, and they just sit there and blah 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 blah. Oh, Timothy's doing great. Did you see him play football? Blah blah. And
it's not unknown. It's not been unknown for a cluster of 4 or more of them to clot up an intersection so no one can get through.
Just stand there forever.
And there will be people in 4 or 5 directions just sort of tutting at them.
Yes!
In a very English manner. So
the tut! It's so passive aggressive, the eye rolling. Oh, you see the whole spectrum of passive aggressive behavior on full display at any given time at the grocery store. It's a marvel to behold. It is something I have never experienced here in the United States, but yet and it didn't matter. It was really bad at Marks and Spencer's.
Yes.
Really bad at Marks and Spencer's. It was kind of bad at Waitrose, but Marks and Spencer's, like, because it's got kind of a small food hall in Turkey, like,
with very little space between the shelves.
Oh my goodness, it's like every man, woman, and child for themselves. You know, Sainsbury's was actually pretty cool because it's a bigger store. So, I mean, there's more space, there's more stuff, there's less perishable stuff, but the whole nature of the Marks and Spencer's food hall is that stuff's really fresh and it'll spoil. So you gotta get to it immediately, and it's only on the shelf for 3 days. You better get there. That was a thing. That I had to adjust to, because I was actually, during this trip, I was trying to move to England. I shipped all of my stuff over there, which was really expensive, but the house that we were in was so small that there was nowhere to put any of my big old American luggage with my big old American stuff and my big old American wardrobe, because guess what, most, you know, English houses don't even have closets.
No, you get a house with 4 bedrooms, quote unquote bedrooms. 2 of them might have built-in wardrobes and built-in shelves and built-in closets and all that. The others would just be left blank. You'd have enough room to throw in maybe a single or a double bed in there, and that's it.
Yeah.
For our house, we actually had to bring in contractors and build more cupboards and closets and shelves and drawers and units like that for storage, because there was hardly any storage space in there. They haven't seemed to cotton onto the fact that if someone lives somewhere, they might need places to put things.
Yeah.
Like clothes or anything. So
Yeah, heaven forbid you have stuff that you want to store in your house, because they don't give you, like, and you'll probably see this if you watch, like, International House Hunters or a show like that, because I totally watch, you know, Home and Garden TV. I'm addicted. So I watch this, and every time I see one of these American families talk really optimistically about the kind of big old house they're gonna get in England and, you know, all the space that they require, I'm like, you guys have no idea. You've never been to England, have you? Like, that's the thought that goes through my head. Like, if you knew how small these houses were, you would not be bringing all of this crap with you. Because I made that mistake. I shipped all of my stuff over there only to be like, oh, there's barely enough space in this home for me to unpack my suitcase, let alone, you know, all of my stuff. I ended up having to ship it right back when I came back to the States.
It's not an exaggeration to say that when my father was alive, the bedroom I was staying in, I could reach out my arms and only have to move a ½ an inch to be able to touch both walls of the bedroom I was in. It was that narrow. So yeah, the houses there are a lot smaller than American houses, and it takes a lot of people by surprise. There are a lot of things that the English house builders could learn about building houses from the USA.
Yeah. Some funny things we encountered while we were looking for a place, because we were looking for a bigger place to move into so that way we could have more space for my stuff, because I'm a girl. I mean, hell, I need more space just for my bath products.
Yes.
That's just my bath products. I've got a bajillion toiletries. I have so much perfume and face cream and makeup. I mean, come on. Who doesn't love a good Ulta haul? I just went to Ulta today and bought more crap. Like, that's me, you know? I work in the beauty supply industry. I like that stuff. It shouldn't be a shocker. So I have all this crap, and there was nowhere to put any of it. So I was like, right, we need to at least have a his and her bathroom sort of situation or something. Because, I mean, you're not going to be able to coexist with my toiletries. And don't make me choose between you and my bath crap. The problem we ran into were that there were all these kind of sketchy sort of design features in the home. You've probably seen this where properties have slanted roofs, probably. Except here they had a bathroom.
Yeah.
You could probably explain it better than I can.
All right, in the eaves section, they shoehorned a bathroom in. And they shoehorned a shower into the bit where the roof and the ceiling sloped. Okay, so if you want to shower, you're gonna have to go in and shower like this.
but yet they can still call that a bathroom, even though I would have a hard time fitting it there, and he would have to sit in the tub every time he wanted to take a shower because he's like 6'1" almost. So yeah, that was a bad place. And then there was the thing I love telling people, because they don't believe me. Americans don't believe me when I tell them this, but there was one property that you went to see that had a back patio.
Oh.
It had a back patio, right? So
a back patio, yes.
Do you want to tell our wonderful
viewers
about this?
I'll tell you about this. There was a back patio, and yes, it was a patio. There were chairs outside,
and it was in the back.
And it was at the back. But in order to get to it, you had to climb out of the kitchen window. I kid you not, I could not make this up. Big, tall kitchen window, you open it up, and you basically have to crawl out to get to the back patio.
Very functional. Then there were the places that had crumbling stairs, or no parking, and like, you don't really want to park on the street in England because the streets are like this big across, and so if you're parking on the street, someone will sideswipe your car. Like, you're there, because I mean, by parking on that street, you've essentially turned a two-way street into a one-way street that goes two ways, if that makes sense. Yeah. The last straw for me, in terms of my willingness to continue to look for a place in the United Kingdom, was we had to drive really far out into the country.
Oh, yeah, it was about a half-hour drive from where we were staying.
Which is a long time when you're driving on English roads,
yeah,
compared to American roads. And we get to this place, and the house, it's an apartment, it's a townhouse basically, right next to the highway. And the only roads that you could use to get there, one was like a rickety little stone one-way bridge that semis like to travel down, you know, what do they call those, lorries or whatever?
Yeah.
And the other way to get to it was like a really tiny little squirrely road.
Which then looped about 1.5 miles out of the way to get to there.
Yeah, so that's just the initial impression, is just how hard it is to get to and how close it is to the highway. Now, the good thing is, like, it was quiet on the inside, so you couldn't really hear the highway overhead. But I mean,
very good soundproofing.
But the highway was literally right overhead of the backyard area, which it had a yard. That's also another plus. But I mean, mixed bag if the highway's right there, right? And it needed lots of work. You know, in spite of all that, we still tried to apply for it until the landlord notified us that there was a British couple, because there's quite a bit of
competition.
You know, as soon as they found out that I'm an American, it doesn't matter, you know, what I can afford. It doesn't matter how much I make. It doesn't matter what I do for a living or how stable my income is. It doesn't matter how prominent I am or how good my credit history is or any of that crap. They just didn't want anything to do with me, and
they tried to discourage us
very strongly by basically saying that we would have to pay for a full 6-month lease.
Well, that's not even the start of it. That's not even the start.
Oh, tell me.
All right, so first month's rent, last month's rent, security deposit, security check, background check, and credit check for every adult who will be living in the place. And you have to pay, you can't really, they don't for some reason go through Experian or things like that. They go through some service that's provided by the real estate agents that you have to pay £250 a head for, for each check.
That's not the application fee, which is an additional fee. Okay?
And also, you know who pays the property taxes? The people who rent it. Not the landlord, the people who rent it have to pay the property taxes, which is a bit messed up if you ask me.
Yeah.
More than a bit messed up.
Yeah, and we would have to pay for the upkeep on the property and all that stuff. So why?
Yes.
Why? Now I know that they've got a housing crisis, and I know that they're in the midst of, well, last time I checked, they were proposing you know, reformations of some kind to a lot of these fees, because it isn't just people from other countries who are protesting. Like, there are people who live in England who think that's really ridiculous.
Yeah, there are people who cannot get on the property ladder in their own hometowns anymore.
Yeah, and you know, the birth rate in that country is not super high. People are starting families really late, and part of the reason why, you know, because my degree's in sociology, so this kind of stuff's always fascinating to me. Like, part of the reason why is because they can't get established. They can't get, you know, first jobs, let alone, you know, career track jobs, and they can't find housing. So who wants to start a family in that predicament?
No, exactly.
And I hard noped on that.
Because you came over, Heather came over as a foreign exchange student when she was 14, and lived in various places in England and travelled around a bit and fell in love with Devon and always wanted to live there. And then
or Salisbury, in all fairness, I like them both.
Or Salisbury,
yeah.
Yes, where the steaks come from. And so here I come along as a Devonian lad looking for love. It seemed heaven sent. And then the landlords get in the way.
I mean, I like it enough that I would still want to move there someday if I could afford it, but I would never want to rent, and I would never want to try to rent. And
no, it's insane.
So if I'm stuck in a rental situation, I have no desire to do that. So that's that. During this trip, okay, so Nigel gets sick more than anyone I've ever met in real life. You get sick so often, and I'm not saying that to make you feel bad, it's just true. Like, our story is peppered with all of these tales of him getting sick and him having problems and his skin flaring up and all kinds of issues because he's got rheumatoid arthritis. So I mean, it's one of those things where it you know how autoimmune disease are. They don't ever go away no matter how well you take care of yourself, and they make you more susceptible to illness than the normal population. And so, you know, he worked in a public-facing customer service job at a casino, which is kind of a grubby environment to begin with. And, you know, so he was constantly catching stuff from the people who came into the casino, and he caught a really nasty infection. I mean, he got pneumonia and pericarditis, and we don't know, you know, if one caused the other or whatever, but all we know is that he was miserable, could barely breathe, ended up in the emergency room, ended up being admitted to the hospital on New Year's Eve of 2016. So we didn't get to spend New Year's Eve together the year before because he had to work, and we didn't get to spend New Year, because remember, I walked to go visit him. And then we didn't get to spend New Year's Eve together the next year because he was in the freaking hospital. And the thing is, he remained sick or in some serious state of convalescence for basically the duration of the rest of my trip there. Like, he was still not 100%. The whole time we were there. And on top of that, I got sick. I ended up with like some severe ovarian pain that I also mentioned to you guys in another video. So I was sick. I was not feeling well. He was sick. He was not feeling well. And we both had radically different experiences with the NHS because, you know, what he was dealing with was acute, life-threatening. They saved his life. He didn't have to pay anything. Yay for the NHS. What I was dealing with was something that was more insidious, difficult to diagnose. The state of gynecological medicine in Devon is terrible, and so they even because of NHS cutbacks, they've shut down the women's clinic at the main hospital in Torbay. So even the place I went to isn't there anymore. So the place you went originally isn't even there anymore. And that was. I don't know if you guys have any advice on how to keep somebody with an autoimmune disease from getting sick all the time, but I think we would both really love to hear it because he's sick all the time. He's sick now, and that's really distressing. But, you know, it's one of those things where it it doesn't bother me that much, you know. It doesn't change my opinion of him or our relationship or any of that stuff. I just don't like seeing him miserable, you know. You know,
I know.
You shouldn't have to live like that.
I know, my sweet.
So there's that. And so all that was going on, and I had to come home for medical reasons because the NHS was not doing me any favors. And not because I was American. I think they probably would have treated me either way. But mainly because I had an issue that wasn't apparent, wasn't obvious, was non-life threatening, and so they basically just didn't care. They just wanted to give me, you know, antidepressants or painkillers or whatever to get me out of their hair. And it wasn't until I got back to the States that they found a fibroid and all kinds of crap. And that's when I realized, you know, that this wasn't all in my head. Because, you know, when it's internal, sometimes you just don't know. So that is why I left England that time around, and I promptly abandoned any effort to try to move to the UK. I was like, right, you're gonna move in with me. You're gonna come to Georgia. You're gonna live in Georgia. Let's do this. And so that became the plan. So fast forward to August 2017, I start looking, so okay, about 3 months has passed. And we're preparing for the eclipse, which is super fun. And, you know, I was looking for a place for us to live. It wasn't going super easy because I wanted to get a place that was big enough for me, Nigel, and CysterWigs Corp, you know, to coexist, because I do a lot of shooting. So I wanted to be able to set up like a little studio space and a little editing room and stuff like that. So I needed to basically run a house, and it was kind of slow going because in Athens it's very competitive for housing because it's a tourist town. So just like in Turkey, where, you know, rich people don't really live there, they just buy second houses so they can come visit on the weekends during the summer. Athens is much the same. You know, a lot of people don't actually live there, they just rent houses there, so that way on Saturdays they can, you know, have parties and watch, you know, go to the Stanford Stadium and watch the Bulldogs game. So I showed him around Georgia when he got here. My cats liked him, which is cool. We made our first batch of Heather and Nigel show videos, which you have been watching, so thank you.
Thank you for the comments and the likes.
He gets such a kick out of the things that you say in the comments.
I do.
Yes. So
really?
Yes, he gets a kick out of what you say about the videos, which is why we are keeping them going to kind of explain what's going on with the wedding and stuff. Mm-hmm. And yeah, while like I mentioned earlier, during the time in between that trip and now, like we talk to each other multiple times a day. Mm-hmm. We would talk to each other on Skype, or not, well, sometimes Skype, but mainly Facebook Messenger, email, that kind of thing. And you know, just to have contact with each other throughout the day. He's very sweet. He would just like send me a little heart, and I'd send him a heart back. More hearts, whoa, cascading hearts, you know, because like on Facebook, it's like a phone heart explosion.
They bubble up and go boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, and if you catch one of the hearts with your finger, you can move it around on the screen. That's super fun. Yeah. He showed me that. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Neither did I until I did it by accident.
But anyway, so there's that, and you know, he would talk to me at night, and because, I mean, when I finally did find a place for us to move into, it was really lonely there until he actually moved in with me, and I would get really freaked out because I don't want to live in a house by myself. That's creepy. So it was nice to have you call me, and he would read to me and tell me jokes and just talk to me about random stuff about the day or TV shows he watched or something like that. And that was...
Give it some sort of semblance of normality.
Yeah, that was very pleasant because it gets very lonely.
Yeah, it's a very quiet area you live in.
It is.
And we live in now.
Yes. And I'm fortunate because I have friends who, you know, and I had a guest room. They would come stay in the guest room and stuff like that. But it's not the same as having Nigel around. So that was nice when you were finally able to join me. So he joined me. Because I know we're fast forwarding through a lot of this very quickly. That's because there's a lot of back and forth involved in this. So he finally came to join me. He finally came to join me. words. And we had Hamsgiving, which I know sounds stupid, but it's basically, we couldn't have Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving because I was too busy preparing the store for Black Friday sales. So I figured, you know what, we'll just do it completely backwards. I'll do ham instead, and you know, we'll just make it a fun thing for me, my friends, and my associates who live nearby. They can just come in throughout the day and get some ham, and I will give them ham, and they can take it home with them. So hence Hamsgiving, because I'm giving you ham. But that's what that was about.
And it was delicious ham.
Oh, it was great ham.